Hi Capricorn, welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot and welcome to your reading for August. Really quick, before I get into these cards, I want to just talk about the transits that are going on this month because August is yet another really big month for us. We're in so much energy of change, and right now with all of the planets retrograde, the changes are kind of occurring on the inside still. I've been saying this for the past couple of months. This month we actually have Uranus going retrograde as well, so that makes every single outer planet retrograde. Now, there's a lot going on here in your 7th and 8th house. Big emphasis on some pretty intimate places in your life. So for sure, your attention is going to be on your partnerships. It's going to be on your investments, your financial stuff, especially because Jupiter from May went into your 3rd house, and now he re-ingresses into your 2nd to kind of finish up some work that he's doing there. Now, if it's not finances in particular that you're working on, for sure we're talking about issues with your self-worth and how you value yourself and how you allow others to treat you. You know, 8th house is like a pretty serious house, and it's a house of like really deep psychological stuff. And we could really do a lot of healing this month because we know the changes aren't going to actually cement or take place right now. That's more like Virgo, Libra, Scorpio season. Right now we're all kind of in limbo. The blockages are becoming pretty obvious, right? There's things that we need to heal. There's areas in our life where we can't seem to make progress. And now we got to figure out why. It's adjustment time. And the funny thing is, when Mercury moves into Leo in your 8th house, things are going to be really clear. You're going to be having those really deep conversations with other people about what your needs are, how they are or aren't being met, what you require, what you want. And there's kind of a heart opening now. You know, in Cancer season, we kind of just felt everything. But with Leo season, we start to really express it. And then what happens is we also have this emphasis in this 9th house, which is a house of expansion and growth and such a beautiful place to make a lot of progress. And because it's in the sign of Virgo, it's through the idea of discernment. What is good for me? What isn't? Okay? And this has just as much to do with us as it does other people, right? Like if our relationships aren't working out correctly, if our business partners aren't doing the things we expected them to do, even our coworkers, you know, friends, clients, if things don't seem to be kind of on par or balanced in this area, most likely it's because of some inner workings going on with you. How do you develop these dynamics between people? Now, a lot of your reading has to do with you kind of taking on the world, handling everything for everyone, which is a very Capricornian trait, right? And because deep down inside, you're probably the only person you can trust to do it right. That's kind of how we are. We're born super responsible and super capable. We can move mountains all by ourselves. And our comfort zone isn't exactly in asking for help. It isn't exactly in, the melding with others and the collaboration. I think it's important to understand that in order for us to reach for the stars, in order for us to get to this new place in our life, we have to start to integrate others, which means we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and express our needs. That's kind of what Jupiter moving into your 3rd house was all about. So we learned some stuff. We got a little bit brave. Jupiter moves back into the 2nd house, and now we got to put our money where our mouth is. We got to do the stuff. We got to commit to saying the things, to having the conversations maybe we've been afraid to have, and expressing ourselves a little bit better. Super important month, guys. It's a really beautiful energy, and it's a great time where we can make terrific strides. If any of you are dealing with any kind of mental health issues, psychology issues, healing from traumas, great time to do different forms of therapy. Even if you're just like getting to know your chart in astrology, because the 8th house is all about the occult, and it could really, I know the occult sounds like such a weird word, but we could really start to see ourselves and our habits a little bit differently, and probably with a little bit more compassion. And when we could frame it that way, it's a little bit easier for us to make the adjustments and fix things, right? So collaboration with you know, a therapist, an astrologist, a psychic, whatever it is, whatever you feel could help you at this time can really help make a lot of progress in our lives. As well, if you're dealing with company finances, you know, there's a chance that the banks can really come through on some loans. You can get the financial backings that you required if you're brave enough to ask, if you're brave enough to apply. If any of you are kind of considering a career change or going back to school, now's the time to really, like all of this energy in Virgo, like fill out the forms, put I lost the word. You know, apply for the stuff. See what happens. See where this path is taking you. The universe is going to let you know if it's working or not. And the 8th house is also about sex and taxes. So if you have an accountant or a sexual therapist, or you find yourself in some different situations with a partner, feel free to explore and allow other people's feedbacks in this area, okay? Capricorn does not have to do it alone this month. Really important to understand that other people are really the key to getting through this energy. Hello, Capricorn. I just have to say, and I know I say it all the time with your guys' readings, but they're always so emotionally moving for me. I've shared this a dozen times. I also have a Capricorn rise. I feel deeply connected to your energy. There's this bonding, I think, between Capricorns, you know, hosting Pluto for all of these years since 2008, going through the nodes and the conjunction in our sign. If anybody has really felt transformed in the past couple of years, it's Capricorn. But see, what I think what happens is we reach this point where we're like, okay, I've done all of this work, right? Done all of this work. I've made all of these changes. I've stood up for myself. I've discovered things that I truly want and desire and the things that I deserve in life. And it's all on the table. And all of a sudden, like, the impatience starts to creep in. And that's what happens about 2021, because we can feel the changes coming. We know, and especially in August, as Uranus is stationing to go retrograde, all of the outer planets retrograde, we know that things are being shook. We know we're becoming free from some old storylines and old scenarios. And I think it's going to take a little more time for the new stuff to really take root. But in the meantime, it could feel frustrating, but I promise you this is very productive. Now you're coming out as a Page of Pentacles, and as I was pulling the energy, actually the cards felt like they were moving very slow. And I think this is an indication of more of a cautious energy. And I like this card in particular because she's kind of holding the coin close to her chest. Now it's not a Four of Pentacles, it's not a grasping. And there's really, looking at this, there seems to be a balance that you are striking. Like she's in this yoga pose. She's holding something that's very precious to her. And I think that's true for Capricorn, that there is something, or that you are understanding. Now this is new energy. So maybe we're just starting to come to this understanding that you yourself are very precious, that you hold a lot of value. I see this pentacle as something that you have, that, you know, this is like that thing that you could offer to others. It's what you bring to the table. It is your value. But I think it's a very new appreciation for who and what you are and what you have to offer. And your environment is that of the Magician. And there is definitely something very magical coming out through this reading. And we even have a card down here that talks about magic and flow. And this is really the universe helping you to understand what you are capable of, Capricorn. And you get the feeling that out of the blue, the pieces will start to come together, and it's not about the physical things that you're doing. See, it's not like all of the planets are retrograde. This is not about like major motivation to start the new projects or to get the things going. And in fact, August is probably going to feel a little suspended. I've been seeing that in my signs, in all of the readings. There's an element of like being suspended, like that thing's not quite here yet, that thing isn't quite working out yet. And it's important to understand that we are in a period of the creation. Now, this is probably Neptune, third house. It's important to dream big, Capricorn. It's important to really master your thoughts. Now, we've got the North Node traveling through your sixth house, which is definitely like, as this next 6 to 8 more months go by, we are in major manifesting mode because we're mastering our mind. We're mastering our thought processes. We're protecting our health, our mental health, our physical health, our bodies, our vessels, our minds, our energy. It's all very precious. And it's something that needs to be protected. Because you are in this creation mode, the universe is offering you a month to kind of go back to the drawing table and create the things that you truly want, how they want to be. Now, looking at these cards here, this two in particular really jump out at me as kind of an old pattern or an old way. So we have this Three of Pentacles, which is truly all about laying the foundations, co-collaborating with others, other people's role within your life. And there's definitely an indication that there is an imbalance. And see, this is the thing that you're trying to create. Something that is steady, dependable, reliable, something that you are building that will stand the test of time. You know, if you're starting a relationship or you're starting a job, a new career, buying a new home, like it's really important to check the foundation. If anybody is moving to a new home or buying property of any kind, buying a car, you know, it's really important to do the inspections, to get the second opinions. Now, I want to be very careful when I say that, because I also think, especially with the South Node in your 12th house, it's a time of being self-reliant as well. So this doesn't mean like you're starting to date somebody and you want to tell all 12 of your girlfriends or your friends about every detail and see, what do you think? What do you think this means? Like, it's not an overanalyzing, and it's not about other people's opinions. But it is about taking an honest look at what other people are bringing to the table as well. Because you know what you bring to the table is worthy. And to me, this indicates a time period in which if anybody is bringing anything to your table that is less than what you have to offer, those things need to be corrected. Now, if we're in work collaborations, if we're in friendship situations, and Capricorn seems to always be the person kind of doing all the heavy lifting, doing all the work, making all the plans, taking care of the details, making sure that this thing is solid. And the other people might have fallen into this comfort zone of just letting you handle it all. And that's, you know, the story of Capricorn in a nutshell. Because there's nothing you can't do. There's no mountain Capricorn can't climb. There's no mental or physical struggle that a Capricorn can't conquer. You have that conquering spirit. And you also have Libra in your 10th house, and by the end of the month, there's going to be an emphasis on your 10th house. Your 10th house is very much about who you invite to your table. It's very much about your destiny. And because you've been hosting Pluto, because you've been under all of this transformation process, you've gotten a chance to view through the idea of contrast what works for you and what doesn't. And the thing is, we're not about to repeat cycles here. The universe just won't let us. our intuition, our gut, even our health will be affected drastically if we start to let these old scenarios play out again, right? Like, you will honestly become physically ill, sick, migraines, stress issues, intestinal issues, whatever it is, if you're in some sort of undue stress. Because the universe is not going to let us take this stuff on. Like, we've broken these habits. That's what 2020 was about. That's what this transformation process has been about. We don't want to take steps back. And underneath these two cards, we have adjustments are required, third quarter moon. The moons are going to play a big role for you. 8th house, new moon, 2 full moons in your 2nd house. This is really all about your value. Now, these are very financial houses, but it doesn't always play out in financial money situations. It is all about your resources. So it's important to acknowledge that not just money is a resource. Your time, your energy, your kindness, your compassion, those are all the things that you bring to the table. And I feel like you might be changing things. See, because the 3 of Pentacles is always really beautiful, except when the Justice card in reverse is next to it. Because, again, it indicates that you're probably doing a little bit more than the other people. And that's an injustice, not just to you, Capricorn, but to that other person. Because what happens is you do all the work, and then you kind of internalize this resentment. And the truth of the matter is, it's not really the other person's fault. Now, they too fall into comfort zones. Capricorn can create this environment where they're just going to do all of the stuff. And of course, the partners, the co-workers, the friends just become used to Capricorn doing all the stuff. So when you take a step back this month, which I feel you might do, it's really important that you don't focus on the resentment. You kind of have to change your perspective here, because it's not about the resentment. It's not about Capricorn doing all the work and all of a sudden I'm just going to stop contributing to this thing as if you're testing them. You're not testing them, but you are giving them an opportunity to turn this around. You are giving the people in your life, the major players, the co-workers, bosses, friends, whatever it is, you're giving them an opportunity to kind of step up. So in a way, you're testing them to see if their value is going to match yours. And that's a super intelligent decision this month. We've got the Justice card in reverse with the 8 of Cups, and here we have this card, Glastonbury Tour. Now, I love these cards. I found them recently. I can't even pick that up. What a mess. These couple of cards, I was very pulled to tarot cards that depicted some sort of direction, because I think we're at this major crossroads, middle of 2021. We know we want change. We're not quite sure which direction, which path to take, where to go. We don't even see all the options clearly right now. And in all of the uncertainty, we're creating this level of magic, which means we're picking the path and direction, which also means that nothing is impossible. And here we have Glastonbury Tour. Magic flows through my life. I will heal. I have power and it is real. Spiritual power takes time to develop, and I find the right teachers when I am ready. Okay, so a couple things stand up to me here. First, we've got the word magic with the Magician. And there's an emphasis on the healing, which is always indicated by the 8 of Cups. There's a pulling back because there's some inner work we have to do on ourselves. Probably the part of us, like, where does this instinct come from? And I'm not getting that the players in your life, I'm not getting that these people that let you do all the work are necessarily like bad people, but they are teachers. And it's probably going to be different for each one of you. Like, however deep the wound, you're probably going to need a more powerful teacher. When soulmates come into our life, it's not always like because that one soulmate we're going to marry and spend the rest of our lives with, or that one business partner that will have that one business forever. Like, it doesn't work like that. We have these people that come into our lives specifically to teach us these like really valuable lessons. And sometimes those lessons have to be harsh in order to get you to move. Now, there's no nonsense here. You're moving. I don't think you realize you're moving, but you are moving. But here's a reminder that these things take time. Because the things that you want, Capricorn, are not like overnight success. This is getting down to like the hard work. Look, we've got Leo season for the first half of August still, and Mercury just starting to move through Leo, which means it's going to be a big time where you're going to want to express yourself. And this is about inviting the vulnerability. And if you can't heal the things inside of you that keep you from being vulnerable, that keep you from saying, hey, I need some help. Hey, I'm going to need a little bit more from you. This is about adjusting expectations and voicing your needs. Not everybody's built like a Capricorn that can kind of just jump in, take over, and solve all of the issues. So you can't really expect this from all the people in your life. That is why you are of value. But if you're doing all the things, you're not taking the time to see the value that other people can bring. And the reason why we do that, Capricorn, is because we don't have faith that other people do it the way that you would do it. Which means deep down there's an element of control that needs to be addressed. The universe is going to kind of insist that you step out of this comfort zone. Leo season, 8th house, we got to transform. We have to transmute. We have to start to learn from the situations that we're in. We really have to look at it in a spiritual way. We really have to look at it and say, how do I change this and make this better? Now, the 8 of Cups here is always a super spiritual card for me. It is really about accepting the journey and the path, because that's what this situation is presenting you. For some of you, you're in jobs that simply don't pay enough. You're in relationships where somebody's not giving enough. And the universe is trying to get you to like pull back and to walk away, to realize that these things could be better. Now, 8 of Cups doesn't always necessarily mean you're moving. Okay? I don't see Capricorns like really... I mean, some of you may be walking away from jobs, walking away from relationships, but it's more of like this emotional pullback. Because I think that you know that you have to emotionally pull back from this. You're going to have to kind of get a little more introverted. There's probably going to be some actual like healing modalities that come your way. Maybe it's just like listening to the right YouTube, spiritual messages. Maybe it's just about finding that one book or getting that advice or getting a counselor of some sort. Like 8th house can always and will always offer you the opportunity to adjust in a psychological manner. Adjust your thought processes. It's about learning how to be safe when you're vulnerable. And if you're in relationships where you know you cannot be vulnerable, those probably aren't long-term potential anyways. And the Wheel of Fortune in reverse is a sign that you are stuck. And I kind of see this playing out as a choice. And I also think that both scenarios will remain true throughout the month of August, which will lead you to a little bit of frustration. You could be in a relationship where you're starting to deliver some ultimatums. Look, if you're not going to invest the way that I invest, then this probably isn't for me and I'm going to have to leave. But really super important that we talk about the communication area. Now we've got Mercury with the Magician. We've got emotional conversations here, and we've got things that simply need to change because they are stuck. They are stagnant. And I don't think that any Capricorn is willing to stay here. Now we have card number 22, which is a very fated number to me. And it's the air, which does depict communication. But this particular card, I'm looking at these horses, which are so beautiful. First of all, you see horses, and of course you think Sagittarius, which is actually not an air card, but it does depict freedom. And I think there needs to be a freedom in the way that you express yourself in the communication, which means you're going to have to use your words. Probably going to have to let things get a little bit vulnerable here. And I get the feeling that Capricorn's been holding in like a lot. Like there's this resentment that's been building, probably not even from these people. This has probably been habits that have played out for you for a really long time. Maybe even things that stem from early childhood patterns, or having to people please a parent, or taking on responsibilities from a really young age, probably having to parent yourself, and therefore you get comfortable parenting all these other people. And then all of a sudden, Capricorn, wait, I want to enjoy life too. Like I want to be a part of the fun too. I don't want to stay home and do all the work while everybody goes out and plays. The universe wants you to think like this. The universe wants you to say these things because the universe is never going to want to see you here. But it's up to you to break the habit. And I don't know if we're moving away from people as much as we're moving away from the fear. The fear of saying those things, because what if you ask? What if you express a need, or you say, look, I really just, I need it to be more like this, and the other person says no. The other person walks away. See, there seems to be probably at least one scenario in your life that you're thinking, well, this is the thing that's going to change everything. And we put those high expectations on the table, and yet we don't actually talk to that person. We don't address that situation. That other person may have no idea that this is what you were thinking in the first place. Cancer in the 7th house. I mean, let's be honest. We can kind of expect the people in our lives to read our minds. We have the 4 of Cups here, and we have a card number 31. Now, I just want to point this out, this scenario here. We have the 4 of Cups. We have 22, which breaks down to a 4. We have 31, which breaks down to a 4. And we have 13 that breaks down to a 4. And to me, the 4 is all about our stability. We have to remember that the stability, the foundations in our life, they really don't come from anybody else but us. And the truth is, you could have the best job, you can make the most money, you could have the best partner in the entire world, and yet still feel like the shoe could drop at any minute. Still feel, like I look at this 4 of Cups and I see this dry desert, and there's definitely a feeling of yearning. Yeah, I want more, which is very much depicted in the 8 of Cups as well. I don't have exactly what I need or want right now. It's almost as if you were thirsty for a new emotional experience. Like you're thirsty, or you're hungry for this new passion. And the opportunity is here for you to change this. There's no doubt that this Wheel of Fortune in reverse is kind of really the universe waiting for you to decide it needs to be different. because you could stay here forever. Some Capricorns will, and if you're cross-watching for a Capricorn who kind of seems to be in this holding pattern, if they're not talking or expressing themselves, you can expect this to go on for a little while. But the truth is, what you seek is movement. Eight of Swords. Now we have 4s, and we've got these 8s here. And this is about allowing the heart to open, allowing yourself to get vulnerable, allowing yourself to ask those things, to let somebody actually see your weaknesses, your hurts. Listen, Capricorn, again, Cancer in that 7th house. Nobody's more stoic than a Capricorn. Nobody can really kind of take one to the chin like a Capricorn, you know? Other people can disappoint you, and you will never ever let them know that they did. Because in a way, that in itself gives your power away. But that's such an old pattern. Because that means we're giving other people the power. We're not dictating. See, and here, the environment, it wants you to dictate what you want next. You want these relationships to move to the next level, you got to say it, you got to speak it, you got to have the conversations. You want to raise, you want more money or more value or less work or a better team or more assistance, like expressing to your clients and setting boundaries, you know, like this is what's happening now. You've got to start expressing those things. You're going to remain in this unfulfilled and dry place until you start actually making the requests. And the 8 of Wands to me is definitely all about that quick communication. When you start to make these changes, you're going to see the results rapidly, okay? I'm not telling you that we're on pause for like 6 months. I'm telling you that maybe a month to make some adjustments. There might be some really cool stuff that comes into your life. There might be some like really cool random things. Like I get that with the teachers and the 8 of Cups. Cool conversations, maybe some messages from spirit, you know, something like that that really kind of motivates you and moves you to make these adjustments. Because you're fully supported. You know, what you don't realize, the end of the day, even if on the physical world you feel like you're doing all the work, there's a tremendous amount of support on the other side for you. The 8 of Cups always indicates to me that you are being guided. Being guided to make these adjustments. And the last card here underneath this 8 of Wands is a dream thief, a refusal of the call. And this always comes from fear and small-mindedness, right? This is that voice that says, you can't make that request. If you ask them, they're going to think this way of you. Or if you tell them you need more, then you're going to look like desperate or needy. And God knows Capricorn can never, ever, ever come across as needy. It's really important that you don't refuse the calls. It's really important that you don't freeze up and not say the things that you need to say. The universe is giving you an opportunity to put it all on the table. The worst case scenario is the people that are in your life for the wrong reasons, the people that are just sucking the resources from you and not contributing back, will go. And that is never, 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 ever a problem. Because you make space for the right things to come in. You cannot fear the opinions or the thoughts of others. Because when you do that, and when you stay in a place of controlling, then you stunt your growth. You don't allow the new things to come in. This is what happens. We stay in relationships for way too long, And then we look back at the years that were wasted. And I don't mean that like meanly. Like, I'm sure we're there for reasons, for learning purposes, for karma, like whatever it is. But we always look back and we're like, man, we wasted a lot of time on that. Probably could have made that move a little bit sooner. You know, if we listen to our intuition and our gut instinct, you know, there's always that element of knowing like this thing isn't really right. And usually when we're in those situations, if this thing isn't right, it's driven by our ego and our need to win, our need to be chosen, our need to be valued. But the truth is, how are we looking at the people in our life? Are we measuring their value honestly? Look, August is really about humbling ourselves and looking at ourselves, like having the no bullshit conversations. And there might be things in your life that you really want to happen, but they just can't happen right now until you make these mental adjustments and you address these issues. And this is all about growing up emotionally and exposing yourself. And then, yeah, it's uncomfortable. August is definitely going to be uncomfortable. The things that are lacking in your life are going to become really apparent. If you're in emotionally unfulfilling relationships or situations, they will continue to become more and more emotionally unfulfilling. You will feel more and more unconnected to these people and these things. But when you address it, you give that person the opportunity to step up and show you how they really feel. And this is kind of all that Virgo energy of discernment. Okay, well, this person stays because they're good for me. And this person goes because they're a drain on my resources and energy. And this is clear decision making time. It moves so quickly after August. Virgo season, Libra season, and a Scorpio season, like we're really moving. So this is the final lull to get it right. You are definitely creating the foundations in all of the things that you're doing. And there's an emphasis of the new things, which means old things really have to go. Old relationships will have to go, and old ways of being will need to go. And honestly, Capricorn, it's exhausting. We know you can take on the world. We don't doubt you. Nobody doubts Capricorn. But we also kind of want you to be happy. We want to see you in this joyful place. We want to see your dreams coming true. So you might have to put out into the world what the hell those dreams are. Underlying energy, we've got the Page of Cups, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. This is really beautiful. This is about you getting brave. Page of Cups is always conversations, apologies, compassion, the new things, and looking at it honestly, right? Now, not always, but sometimes I'm drawn to this fish in the cup. It could represent illusions. We thought something would be a certain way. We had these really high expectations. And when you look at it honestly, maybe it's really not. Because this is a test of your self-reliance. Nine of Pentacles. It is so important for you to not doubt your worth. Because this is the strength. This is where it all comes out for Capricorn. Nine of Pentacles, Virgo season. You cannot allow anything to draw from your energy and resources because they are precious. This woman is calling the things that she needs to her. She doesn't require other people. She's not dependent on other people. She can do it all on her own. And therefore, she's in a place where she can wait and attract the things that are of really high value. And if there's people that are not emotionally or supportively stepping up, then this is a reminder that you're going to have to use this Ace of Wands. You're going to have to use this brand new inspiration, this spark from within. Look at, here's you have the Ace of Wands, and here you have the Page of Wands. This is you learning how to yield it. Okay, this is Capricorn. This is, I don't want to be like this anymore. I want to step into my power. I want to step into my worth. And I'm going to start demanding, Ace of Wands, I'm going to start demanding that certain things meet this level of expectation and need. Okay. In the Page of Wands, you start to understand how important it is to say those things, to express yourself. Look, it's Leo season. You got to express yourself. You got to say the words. These are not a card of controlling destiny. Look, 3 pages, Page of Pentacles, Page of Cups, Page of Wands. You are not controlling, you're creating. You're not controlling, you're attracting. You're attracting this 10 of Cups to you. This isn't about the hard work. None of this has anything to do with hard work. Look, the majority of the hard work is done for you, Capricorn. You've done really good. Like, you've earned it all. And now you just have to let the good things come in. And maybe let the things that make you feel like you have to control it or you need an answer, let that stuff go. Here's every indication in this reading that everything is happening so quickly for you and you just don't see it. And one last thing, Capricorn, before I close out, this 4 of Cups and this card number 4 here, Dry Desert, I just want to remind you that it is super important to stay in a place of gratitude. And I don't care how life could be beating the shit out of you right now. There's always elements to be grateful for, even if it's just the sun or the rain or, you know, something that brings joy or a smile to your face. There's going to be a need to focus on the humor of life. Because of frustration, if you focus on the lack, if you focus on the frustration, you're going to get stuck in it. And it's so easy to distract ourselves with the joy in our life. Right? Something's not working out, you know, having like computer issues or something, walk away from it. Go play with your kids, call your friend, put on some music, dance a little bit, focus on the good parts of life and enjoy. That's going to distract from the emotional heaviness that this situation can kind of create. And even when you're having these conversations with people, don't be afraid to use your humor. Okay, we don't have to bite anybody's head off. We don't have to deliver like really harsh ultimatums to people. I mean, you might if you have people that are really taking you for granted, but you know, you can say these things with tact and grace and humor. You could say things like, look, I'm really grateful for, you know, my yoga class twice a week, and I'm not going to give that up for anybody. So I'm going to need a little bit of help so that I could do that. Okay. Focus on the joy. Do not focus on the lack. Because the things that you focus on when you're in the environment of the magician are the things that you're going to create. If you're looking at relationships and you're just thinking over and over, yeah, well, this person doesn't text me back, or I don't hear about this, or this isn't working out, well, you're going to keep getting more scenarios that feels like things aren't working out. Focus on the things that are. All right, Capricorn. Really powerful, beautiful reading. As usual, you guys are doing an amazing job through all of this energy, and I just want to let you know you have my full support. I love you so, so much. I think that you are just the strongest people in the whole world. All right, Capricorn. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye.